right, Paul, are you ready?
Oh, we're back. Yes, I'm ready for another stimulating edition of Live Feed Reads.
Yeah.
Hello, TV land. I'm Paul Reed, your host, and the Ed McMahon to my Johnny Carson, Jason Crawford here. It's a beautiful day out. It is supposed to rain, but we need it. If you recall, about this time last month, it was 95 degrees. Now we're in the 80s. It's 85 currently. I'll tell you, 10 degrees does make a difference,
I'll
but it's
take
still
it.
hot.
Yeah,
All
it is.
right, so a couple of things. Uh, October 1st, which is a few days away, new laws take in several new laws, about 30 of them go into effect in the state of Florida.
When were these laws decided? Was this part of HB one
This
delayed
last
or?
February, March, or March and April, whenever the legislature was in session for 60
Okay.
days, these laws are passed, and then for whatever reason, they can go into
So
effect in immediately. They can go
July.
effect in July, and some
Okay.
go into effect in October. Some will
Okay.
go into effect January.
All
I'm not
right.
100% sure why the delay is,
The
but I'm
delay.
sure there's a reason, or probably not, given it's the government.
Well, I know
Some of
that
the ones
some
that,
of the laws that impact like home education went into effect during July, and, and
yeah,
and they've been trying to scramble to get everything caught up, like in
yeah.
colleges and schools and stuff to accommodate those new laws. So
Yeah,
that
no, I
might be
hear you.
part of it. I
So
don't know.
let's see. One of them, which I guess kind of makes common sense. So you can drive a golf cart on a public road in certain communities. I'm sure up in what's the one in Ocala, the big one, the what's the one up in Ocala?
I
The
don't know.
villages, the
Okay,
villages.
right, right,
I'm
right, right.
sure they have golf carts that drive on the roads, and
Right.
Sun City Center, if I'm not mistaken,
Wasn't there
is a designated cart town or city.
wasn't there an official that was driving their golf cart on under under the influence or something like that,
Oh
and they got
yeah, it
pulled
was.
over?
Yeah, there was, and whipped out his card and said, "Look who I am," and didn't
Yeah.
go well for him.
Yeah.
But anyway, the new law says that if you're a minor, you have to have at least a learner's permit or driver's license to drive the golf cart. Kind of
Okay.
common sense.
All
That's
right.
not a
Fair
big
enough.
one. Another one, which is interesting, is the they call it the anti-streaking law. And it's funny, you're
During
young,
baseball season, is that
you're young, but back in the day, uh,
back in the day
people used to run onto baseball
when
fields
we
and
didn't have
football fields
television? Yeah.
naked all the time, like almost every game.
Are
And
you
then of
serious?
course, oh yeah, all the time.
I remember it like when I was a
And
kid, like
so,
here and there.
but that's really not the case now. But
Okay.
what you have now is people running on the field or getting up on stage. You've seen them at concerts; they jump up on
Oh,
stage.
yeah. Okay.
And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
now in Florida, if you do that, you're subject to a first degree misdemeanor, which is pretty serious.
Okay.
First, second, and third. Third would be less, believe it or not, than first.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. And
Yeah.
so, and that's up to
Like
a year
golf, the lower
up to a
scores.
year in jail and
Okay.
250,000, $2,500. So,
Whoa. It's like 250,000.
interestingly enough, so what happens when you see the like Colorado, when they win a game, the whole stadium empties onto the field.
Yeah. Yeah.
In Florida, could 50,000 kids or whomever be subjected to this penalty? I don't know. Now,
Oh, wait, does it have to do with running onto the field? Like
running
running
onto
on.
a field or event stage.
Oh, okay. So it doesn't have to do with streaking per se.
No, basically interrupting a sporting
Right,
event
right, right. It's
or
okay.
a concert or something to
Okay.
that nature.
Got you.
Yeah.
Okay, okay, okay.
Now, would they enforce it? Probably not. But
But they could.
yeah.
Hmm.
And then the
That's
other one.
interesting.
So I got a little lead-in story. So evidently, Brittany sends me a text this
Okay.
morning on her way to her clinicals in nursing that I guess there was a pretty big sex trafficking bust in Polk County. Grady
Okay.
Judge takes that pretty serious.
Okay.
And there were, I guess, 83 people were arrested and so forth and so
Wow.
on. And I don't want to get into all of that. I mean, but
Wow.
it's pretty
You
funny because he talks about a few of the individuals that he talked to, and he says one guy left his 1-year-old child at home alone,
no
and when
way.
confronted about that, now this is Polk County, of course, he says, "Well, my child wasn't alone; the dog was watching
No way. No. No.
her."
No.
All you do is
Did they
shake your head
drug
on
test
that
him?
one. Yeah.
Holy moly. What do you
Another
have to be
one,
on to think
dude,
that?
another one. So there's two, a man and woman,
Good grief.
go into a hotel room. A guy's outside and he sees the cops watching him, right? He still goes
Okay.
in. He still goes in when it's his turn. Of course, they got arrested. And Grady says that guy's got marshmallow for brains. He's sitting there watching the police watching him, and he still goes into the room.
That just
I'm assuming.
so
I'm
many
a, yeah. I'm
questions.
assuming there's probably drugs and or alcohol
There
involved
must be.
in that situation.
There must
Another
be.
one. Now, kudos to this. Now, again, obviously, we do not
No.
condone prostitution or
None of
otherwise.
this. None of
But
this
there's
could be.
the
That's
CEO
very
or
bad.
CFO, Chief Financial Officer of a
Okay.
California retirement center, and
Okay.
he told the deputies, quote unquote, "It's not illegal to cheat on your wife." And Grady's
Technically
response was,
true.
"Well, but it is illegal in Florida to pay for sex."
Also technically true.
Yeah. And then
Jeez,
finally,
man.
the
Are
oldest
you
suspect
serious? Wait, so a
arrested.
guy, there was a retirement home operator out of California was here
Oh yeah,
and
dude,
got
it's kind of
convicted
sad
under
because
this.
um,
Yikes.
there were the ones arrested were from, and this is at Cuba, Chile, Venezuela, Mexico, Guatemala, Colombia, Bahamas, Alabama, California, Georgia, Illinois, Massachusetts, Maryland, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, and Wisconsin. What the heck are we?
What?
A big sex state?
Jeez. Well, I did hear that as far as human trafficking goes, uh, Tampa, at least the area, the Bay
Yeah,
Area,
evidently
is
Polk
kind
County.
of, yeah, is kind of a, yeah.
It's sad. Well, also they see fentanyl, heroin, crack, cocaine, meth, and marijuana. So it's just.
Wow, man.
And before we get into our final new law, which is controversial, the oldest person arrested in the sting was how old?
I'm gonna go with 69.
76.
76. What? That
uh,
is wild.
I think he should get probation. I'm just kidding. All right, so here's this one of the laws, very controversial law, in the sense from a legal standpoint. I don't know why it's so controversial,
Okay.
but from another standpoint. But there's
I
always
love how your brain can just switch gears and mine's like still trying to have
yeah.
so many questions. But
Well,
go
and
lead us
basically one
elsewhere.
of the new laws, October 1st, allows for the death penalty for an individual who commits sexual battery on a child under the age of 12. The death
Hmm.
penalty if you basically rape someone under the age of 12.
Well, I think my feelings on that should be obvious. I think that's
Well,
that is delayed.
yeah, well, it's going to obviously, as soon as it takes effect, somebody, ACLU or some member of a more, liberal side of the aisle, so to speak, will
Mm-hmm.
file a Eighth Amendment petition to declare the law unconstitutional. Eighth Amendment, cruel and unusual punishment, and
Okay.
uh, and ultimately the Supreme Court, either of Florida
Hmm.
or of the United States, will hear if if the state of Florida finds it to be unconstitutional, then there will be no need for the United States Supreme Court to find it unconstitutional. If the Florida
Okay.
Supreme Court finds it constitutional under Florida state law and of course federal law, then the U.S. Supreme Court will probably hear it to decide one way or the other. Now,
Okay.
what's interesting is that the issue has already been addressed by the U.S. Supreme Court back in 2008, where Louisiana, God bless Louisiana, you would expect this law to be nowhere else, has the same or similar law that basically says a child rapist can be put to death.
Okay.
And it's Kennedy versus Louisiana 2008. And the court held that the Eighth Amendment's prohibits the death penalty for a crime in which the victim did not die. So they went even farther and didn't limit it just to the crime of rape of a child.
Right.
They said they expanded it to you have to die or kill someone basically to get the death penalty. Now, and the thing was, without getting too much into it,
Sure.
the stepdad evidently brutally raped his 8-year-old stepdaughter, and it was so bad that they gave him the death penalty. Now, here's what's interesting. So, typically speaking, of course, we saw this with Roe versus Wade and other laws. Typically speaking, if the Supreme Court has spoke on an issue, that's pretty much it. But
Right.
what you're seeing nowadays, and this law would be one of the examples, is well, yeah, the Supreme Court ruled in 2008 you have to die, but that was a different Supreme Court. That was a liberal Supreme Court where it was a 5-4 decision. The 5 liberal justices stated that it was cruel and unusual punishment to basically put someone to death who hasn't murdered someone or caused the death of someone. Yeah. And there were 4. The conservative judges says, okay. And Judge Alito, who is still on the court, wrote sharply criticized the decision. And he went on, you could read it, I'm not gonna, but he just says, no, if you, in certain circumstances where you brutally rape, sodomize, or otherwise, someone under the age of 12, he's got no problem with it. So, but you say, okay, well, why would the state pass this law? Because there's a new court in town, so to speak. Now you have a majority, what is it, 6-3, I believe, where you have conservatives. So in theory, and this is what it's kind of, disconcerting. In theory, the Constitution did not change from 2008 to 2023, right? The Eighth Amendment, unless I'm missing something, it didn't get rewritten.
Yeah, nothing legally changed.
Right.
Yeah.
So then why would and again, I'm not saying I'm for the law. Sure. I'm not saying I'm against the law. I'm saying as a lawyer, other than different judges being on the Supreme Court, what changed constitutionally?
And I think that begs a deeper question, which, is hits on the divide between legality and morality, and which one governs. I think because well, like the guy said, it's not illegal to cheat on your wife, right? Well, technically he's right, but the way that he did it's also technically wrong. So it does in the end, in that case, it didn't matter, but there are certain other circumstances in which it does. And I think that it's concerning because as the concept of morality changes, legality changes with it, or the trends of decision making change. And should it, right? Or should there be like a hard fast line of these were the laws, this is the way they would have said, we should adhere to them regardless of trends or changes in trends or changes in thinking.
Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying. This one though, and that does happen as society changes. Certainly,
whether rapidly or over
things change as well. But this one is, there's been, unfortunately, probably since time began, people doing bad things to children.
Yes.
Right. And so the question was back then and is, as we sit here today, should those people be subjected to the death penalty for doing those bad things?
How much punishment? Right.
Yeah. But either way, we'll find out. That's one of the more controversial, if not the most controversial law that's going to take effect October the 1st.
It does impact other things too, though. It's not just the verdict of that particular case. From what I understand, and correct me if I'm wrong, but there are kind of categories of offender, and I think in some states there's categories of offenders in terms of tiers.
We have them here. There's like sexual predator, I believe, the top one, and then there's I forget what they are, but I think the predator.
I was worried about one of my employees one time when I worked at the mall because he got drunk and was urinating, relieving himself in a hallway. But the door to the access hallway was wide open, and parents with children were walking by, and I was like, man, like I was like, you're an idiot for one. Like, what are you doing? Go home. But like that could have ruined his life.
Oh, very much so. Yeah. So what do they say? They got the level 1 is the classification is least serious and is reserved for lower level crimes where the offender is deemed unlikely to reoffend. Level 2, it appears, is this classification indicates that the court believes a person is likely to reoffend. Let's see what else. What do they call them? So anyway, it's there are different levels.
States because they're all different, but
like, every state's different.
Yeah, they are. But this stuff has an impact, I think, in punishing categories, not just the individual. And that kind of is where I get a little nervous about it, because sometimes you do get a early offender or someone who is just messing around, with their buddies. And,
all right, well, you're boring me. We're just talking about the death penalty, and I don't want to. Yes, everybody, every sex act is different, and every crime is different. And I hear you, but that's not what the topic is. The topic is, should you be killed for basically raping a 11-year-old or less? And that's not for you and I to decide.
No, legally it's been answered.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens.
All right. Well, let's see what else.
Take us somewhere bright, man.
Well, yes. So here's the deal. There's 3 games left in Major League Baseball season. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Right?
The Rays are already in the playoffs as a wild card. And in case you haven't heard, up in TV land, my brother, the third base coach for the Marlins, they have 3 games left as well. They play the Pirates. Yeah. And right now, they're half a game ahead of the Cubs.
Okay.
And you say a half a game because last night's game, in either the bottom of the 8th or I think the top of the 9th, the skies fell out in New York where they were playing the Mets. Jody said they sat there in the dugout waiting for the rain to stop until 1:30 in the morning.
No way.
They got to the airport because they had to go to Pittsburgh at 4 in the morning.
Yikes.
Or at 3 in the morning, and landed in Pittsburgh at 4 o'clock this morning.
Whoa, dude!
And they got to play a night game tonight.
Yikes!
So if the Marlins control their own destiny, if they win all 3 games against the Pirates Friday, Saturday, Sunday, they're automatically in.
Okay.
And then it gets into who will win with losses and stuff. But if they sweep the Pirates, they're in automatically. If not, then it depends on how many they win, how many the Cubs lose, and so forth and so on.
Okay.
But either way,
How's his leg?
Oh, it's fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
But either way, no one would have thought the Marlins, with 3 days left, were going to be vying and playing for a playoff spot. So kudos to that coaching staff for turning around a team that really was left for dead before the season even started.
Yeah.
So
hopefully.
golf clap for the Marlins. Again, go Rays. Other than that, the Buccaneers played. They're 2-1. We played Jameis Winston and your New Orleans Saints. So it's a good time. The Lightning will be starting play soon. Yep. So if you're a sports fan, it's a good time to be alive.
Yeah, man.
That's all I have.
All right.
That's it. That's all I got.
Okay. How are things
Oh,
at
wait
the
a minute.
castle?
Hold on. Let's.
Oh, you're gonna check in.
Oh, hold on. Let's see.
Yeah.
I don't know. Let's see what the weather's like in New York. Yeah, I don't know if she'll answer.
We'll see.
This is Leanne. Sometimes she feels like a nut. Sometimes she don't.
She's gonna answer with a yawn.
Yeah.
Oh, Dad, what's up? No,
Well, looks like Leanne the Beast is ignoring me. All right. Well, that's it. And that's that. And take us out, Jason. Everybody have a nice, safe weekend. Get out there, enjoy the weather. It's really not bad. It will be raining a little bit, so get out early and slow down. Let people cut in front of you, so to speak, or merge in, and don't be on your phone with all those things. Just be nice. Jason, take us out.
You got it.
And we need the takeout song should be The Wanderer. Come on, man.
It's copyrighted. I can't. It's copyrighted. I wish I could. I can't use copyrighted. But either way, yeah.
Read and read. It's like having a lawyer in the family.